So, part 3 of module 2 is the right to assemble and to petition the monarch. So the topics covered today will be lawfully follow your conscience. The Bill of Rights, 1688, is the legal authority of those governing today. Lawful precedents, ancient and indubitable, as well as legal precedents to petition those governing without reservations. BOR 1688 includes to replace those governing when no longer fit for purpose. And the BOR, or the Bill of Rights 1688, is beyond the authority of both those governing as well as the courts.
Absolutely.
And again, will provide further resources. So fear is the tool to control, Mark, which equals alarm and distress, which again is a breach of the peace.
Absolutely. Anything that causes alarm and distress, breach of the peace. So all humans have got the natural right to freely go about their lives according to their conscience without unlawful interference from another. And equally, lawfully, you can only do certain things, and we've covered that when we were looking at our own rights.
But it's a very important topic though, isn't it? Is it do what's right by your conscience?
Absolutely.
For example, telling a lie is going against...
Unconscionable.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the foundation of all equity.
Yeah.
The rules of equity. Fundamentally, anything that's unconscionable is unlawful. So, again, we covered this in more detail previously. The Bill of Rights is the legal source of those governing still today. This creates legal obligations on them. And those governing, if we remember, that Parliament assembled is meant to represent the will of the people, and that then authorises Her Majesty's government to enforce the will of Parliament. So in theory, Her Majesty's government is meant to be enforcing the will of the people. However, we've discussed it doesn't work like that, because we're not equally represented, and they have party politics, and they follow party whips and things like that. So it's actually an unlawful form of governance, because we're not all equal.
Just to bring on a separate subject there, you and I have talked about this many times off camera. When it comes to looking at the application of justice for people who have done so many wrongs over the course of the last year or so, you and I were saying is that we have to a certain extent, be relatively forgiving, because as we say, everything about the law is actually practicing rights and customs. And rather sadly, people who've not understood the law, they've allowed the law to be almost misused against them.
Absolutely.
But therefore, that is still your responsibility, isn't it? It's your responsibility, so therefore you can't always apportion blame. As much as there is a lot of emotion and anger for people who we know have deliberately caused harm, at the end of the day, by your lack of knowledge, you've basically allowed that to become a custom. To say, well, what goes on in Parliament is not our business, when it actually is. And, by accepting that the police are generally considered to be a higher authority is not true either. And we've seen this by the amount of times we've challenged them and the police have backed down to say these people clearly understand their rights, and therefore we can't challenge and abuse that power that we have automatically inherited, because the general people have allowed them to get away with it for so long, whether it's a politician or a police officer.
And even further than that is the custom. We've become accustomed not to hold officials to account. So, for instance, lying politicians. The custom was that
we expect them to tell lies, so
that needs to stop.
It's just the same with the media, isn't it? We know that the media are telling lies to us, but we say, well, don't believe everything you read in the papers.
Absolutely.
So we've almost changed our own custom to allow us to be lied to.
Absolutely.
And abused accordingly.
And the interesting thing is the Bill of Rights specifically says it's an obligation of the government, those governing, to uphold the people's right to petition the monarchy. Now the important thing here is it's without reservation. And when we talked about the Bill of Rights, again, we talked about what happened was they listed their grievances with those governing, and they declared that as their cause of action to get rid of the existing governance and replaced it with their new governance. So that there's actual legal precedence which affirms that you can replace those governing when they're no longer fit for fit for purpose. Is the word that I'm looking at, yeah. And that there in the Bill of Rights is expressed as each of ours ancient and indubitable right and liberty. So the other thing in the Bill of Rights, it's very clear, all of these things, our rights, because they're ancient and indubitable, they are above the authority of those governing and above the authority of the courts. So it's a very powerful document. That there's the constitution which creates the authority of those governing. I know people say that there is no constitution of the UK. There is, a country cannot have a constitution because people get born, people live, people die. It's a constitution of how we will be governed. And it needs to be movable as new knowledge comes available to us.
It needs to be adaptable and grow organically.
It needs to be adaptable, absolutely. So, but fundamentally, the right to petition the monarch, it's not restricted in the Bill of Rights. Therefore, this word that they use, unlawful assembly, is actually meaningless. Even legally, we can do what we like, petition, so long as we do it lawfully.
Okay.
That's the only thing that constrains us, is the law.
And that concludes part 3.
Yeah.